So the movie starts with Lucas lying in a garden and resting. Suddenly, he hears his parents screaming and calling someone for help. Lucas runs towards his house, scared. When he reaches, he sees from the window that the robbers had entered his house. 4 people entered his house. One of them was the bear, the other was the scorpio, the third was the snake, and the fourth was the wolf. Now they kill Lucas's parents, and Lucas can't do anything even if he wants to, because Lucas was a very cowardly person and that's why he couldn't face them. And when they are leaving his house, they set fire to his entire house so that no one can find out what happened in his house. But because of these people's behavior, Lucas had a feeling of revenge in his mind, and now he decides that he will take revenge from them. But because Lucas still had not been able to gather the courage to face these people, he starts thinking about it. Then, in his mind, the image of the king of his village comes to mind, who had promised that he would help his people in every condition. That is why Lucas immediately reaches to the king and keeps his word in front of him. But the king refuses to help him. But Lucas still wanted to take revenge from his parents. So he decides to hire some hunters who will kill his parents. And he reaches the bar with all this in mind, where he meets a man named Darius, who was a professional hunter and also agrees to help Lucas. But when they were talking about money, suddenly the other hunters also listen to them and they immediately fight over Darius because they wanted them to do Lucas's work. But Darius didn't play any bullets. He's teaching all of them a lot of fun. But in the meantime, the king's soldiers come. Seeing the genie, Lucas immediately hides in the Luhar shop from here at 9 to 11, where when he meets Luhar, he tells Luhar about his whole situation. Now, after listening to him, Luhar suggests that if he wants to take revenge for his parents, then he should go to the dragon who lives outside the village, because the people who killed Lucas's parents are really dangerous people, and at this time, that dragon is the only one who can mess with them. Now Lucas was afraid to go to the dragon, but as soon as he sees a ray of hope, he immediately goes to the cave of the dragon. And now, after meeting the dragon in the cave, when Lucas tells him that he wants to take revenge from his parents, the dragon refuses to help him. And now, because Lucas had to face despair from the side of the dragon, he gets upset and goes out and sleeps. But the next day when his eyes opened, a very beautiful horse stood in front of him. There was also a bag in which there were a lot of food items. Then Lucas worships and takes his stuff and moves forward, where he finds Darius on the way, who had come here to help him. Now at this time, Lucas gives him half of his work and tells him that he will give half of the work after the work is over. Now when they were moving towards their first target, then we learn from these two that Darius had an idea that dragon would refuse to help Lucas. Because there was a time in Darius's childhood when a horse cart of Darius and his whole family had an accident. Then Darius also went to the dragon to ask for help, but the dragon refused to help him. And because at this time the dragon does not help anyone, so all the villagers hate him very much. Now at this time these people were moving forward to kill the bear, and here Darius teaches Lucas how to wield a sword on the way. Then when they get very close to the location of the bear, then Darius uses his powers here, in which he picks up some earthworms in his hand and confirms the location of the bear from them. And then Lucas learns about some of the powers of Darius, that he can talk to all the creatures that are present in this world. After which, they reach the place where the bear was about to come with his whole gang. And now they start making a plan and waiting for his. And now he tells Derisi that once during a war, Dragon promised the king that she would help him in the fight. But when the king got injured during the fight, and she asked for help from the dragon refused to help her. And the king asked for so much help from the dragon that he wanted the dragon to join half of his heart with the king's heart, which would have given the king some immeasurable powers and would have reduced his sorrow. And this is the main ability of that dragon, that if she wants, she can join half of her heart with anyone, after which that person will have some immeasurable powers and his sorrows will also be reduced. And because that dragon refused to help the king, everyone started looking at him with a grumpy look, and he was also thrown out of the village. Now, when Darius was telling Lucas about the king and dragon, Lucas's horse, which he found on the way, changes into the same dragon that Lucas had gone to ask for help. And then they find out about another power of the dragon, that it can take the form of any animal. Next, she comes to Lucas and says that I came here to help you, and the story that Darius told you is half the story. Now she could tell the whole story, but at this point, Darius starts getting very angry because he had lost his parents because of this dragon. Also, he could not work with this dragon in any condition, so he returns half of Lucas's money and leaves from here. But because Lucas now had a dragon, he did not need Darius. Then he starts eating his food, but at this point the people of Beer reach here, which when they see Lucas in their area, they attack him. Then Lucas also tries to run away from them, and in the meantime the dragon comes which kills all of them very badly. But in the meantime, because of Lucas's carelessness, he grabs the bear, and while torturing him, he grabs it with his belt and starts turning it. Now because Lucas's belt was very weak, it breaks in two parts because of turning it too hard, and the bear is pushed so hard that it falls down into the ditch and is killed. And in this way, Lucas takes revenge from his parents' first killer, who was very happy after seeing it. But Dragon tells him that he should not be happy with anyone's death. Lucas did not want to rest yet, so now he reaches the one-day journey directly in the wolf's area, where after reaching, when he was sitting in one place, many bees attack him. And guess what? All the bees were thrown by the wolf's men. Now Lucas was facing his friends and wolf with all his might. In the meantime, the female dragon also reaches here, which starts to melt its ice on all these people. But Lucas's bad luck comes back to the wolf's clutches, and this time, the wolf had a very big sword on his neck. And that sword was about to cut Lucas's neck. But in the meantime, a dog comes there, which starts distracting Wolf's attention. As soon as Lucas gets the opportunity, he snatches Wolf's sword and attacks him. Now these people had made Wolf a prisoner, which was going to take him to his other companions so that Lucas could take revenge from them. Now that dog that was distracting Wolf's attention, it turns into a dragon, and we know that the dragon had distracted Wolf's attention as a dog. Now, because the wolf was familiar with the chappy here, he takes them to the snake in a short time. After reaching here, they can see the dairies who had come here to kill the snake. But because the snake and his companions were very powerful, the dairies could not stand in front of them, and they were going to make them prisoners. Then she goes to the dragon dairies and tries to help her. Then she beats everyone very badly here, and then she tries to catch the snake. Dragon was about to catch the snake, but the snake runs away from the wolf, and the wolf was trying to run away from the snake. Then the dragon attacks the wolf with his eyes, and he holds his hand tightly, and the wolf's hand is lifted up. Lucas also saw the snake running away, so he goes after the snake and drops him off the horse, and a duel begins between the two. Then the snake attacks Lucas's chest with the help of his sword, and that sword was stuck in his chest. But later it is found that the sword is in the bag of that money in which the gold coins were filled, and in the meantime, the dragon also reaches here, which attacks the snake with its eyes. But here, because of Lucas's one mistake, it goes all the way to the ice and hits the dairies. Now the pain was the same as that of the dragon. Seeing this, Lucas doesn't understand what is going on. And then he reveals that day, to save his life, the dragon had joined his half-heart with the half of the heart of the dragon. Then when he asked his parents to save him, the dragon ran away from there, and after that he had a lot of hatred for the dragon. And if he gets hurt after that day, he feels half the pain. In fact, the dragon feels half the pain. Now they had caught the snake here too, after which, when they were eating at night, the dragon was talking very good things about the king. After listening to which, the dragon gets very angry and tells the dragon that the king you think is very great is actually a cheater. Actually, that king used to fight a lot of fake battles so that he could show himself to people. And at one point, when he was coming back after a fake battle, his horse cart collided with your horse cart and your parents died in it. Then I joined your half-heart with my half-heart and saved your life. But unfortunately, I could not save your parents. Raja himself was also very hurt in that accident, but he told everyone that he was not injured in the accident, but was injured in a very big war. And after that, he had proposed to me that I should join my half heart with his half heart. But because by that time I had already known the complete truth of Raja, so I refused to help Raja, and after that, people started hating me a lot. After knowing all the truth, Darius gets very angry with the king, and he thinks that he will also take revenge from the king in some way or the other. In the future, they come back to their kingdom by catching the snake, where they hand over the snake to the king, and Lucas goes to the girl he liked a lot. Now that everything was almost short here and the king had ordered that they would catch the scorpion as soon as possible, so Lucas spends a lot of time with this girl. And on the other side, we see Darius, who was looking at some documents which he found from Snake's house. After decoding the documents, we come to know that the attack on Lucas's house was done by King's order, meaning that all four of them went to Lucas's house because King had attacked them. But Darius couldn't tell anything about this to Lucas, so the king's soldiers come here and take Darius with them. Now wherever these soldiers take the daddies, the king also arrives in a short time, which clearly tells him that these four people who attacked Lucas's house, they all work for me. On my word, they attack the other village's house, after which I get them caught, which makes people think I am very great and listen to me. And if you ever try to go behind these people with deception, I will kill you. After saying this much, the king leaves from here, and there we see that the scorpion comes to the snake and takes it away from here. And now, because Darius was also removed from the village, he immediately goes to the dragon and tells him all the truth about the king. Then the dragon tells him that he will have to do anything to get that paper back, which the soldiers had snatched from Darius, because, with his help, he could prove to everyone that the king is a traitor. On the other hand, we can see Lucas, who finds out that his girlfriend's house is on fire, so he goes to that place immediately so that he can put out the fire. Now that girl and her father were also trapped in that house, after seeing which, Lucas starts screaming very loudly. In the meantime, the dragon arrives here, which puts out all the fire. Now all this fire was set by Scorpion and Snake on the king's orders. Then Darius and Lucas follow them, and the dragon stays here, so that he can get the badge from the soldier, with which he was going to bring the king's truth to light. There we see Darius and Lucas, who followed Scorpion and Snake and reached a snowy place where after reaching, they start fighting in both groups. Scorpion and Snake were both very powerful, so none of them could have been able to stand in front of them. Then Snake hurts Lucas very badly, and we see Scorpion there, who was trying to drown Darius and kill him. Now, here Darius and Lucas were about to die, but at the right time the dragon arrives here, which made it clear that these two will need help somewhere. During this fight, Darius also got hit by an arrow, so he pulls it out of the water and stabs the Scorpion. Now when Darius and Dragon get close to Lucas, Lucas was in a very bad condition. Then Darius thinks what he should do. Then Darius remembers about a monastery where he was killed in his childhood. So he immediately recommends taking Lucas there. Then Dragon Darius and his companions take Lucas to the same monastery where they both get treated, because of which Lucas fainted, and after a few days when his eyes opened, he saw the same girl whose house he had saved. In the meantime, King arrives here, who came with all his soldiers to arrest Lucas and his companions. But then she comes to Dragon Beach and tells everyone about the truth about the king. But first no one believed her. But in the meantime, Darius comes here with the wolf, who was still alive. And then the wolf tells the whole truth of the king to save his life. And now, as soon as the whole truth comes in front of the rest of the people, they decide to give the king the death penalty. After the death of the king, everyone here is very happy and they accept the dragon back. With which this movie ends here, so I hope you liked the explanation. If you liked the explanation, then subscribe to the channel and select the bell notification and like the video. I will keep bringing more interesting explanation videos.